to continue this whole concept. Dr. Christine Royce is currently a professor in the Teacher Education Department and co-director for the Math and STEM Education Program at Shippensburg University in Pennsylvania. So, Madam Professor, how do you see really the situation today of the education? Because we just know that we were talking about the importance of giving that chance for talent. And it starts with education. No, first of all, I think it starts with mothers and fathers. I really believe it starts at home, that we give the chance and all the support to our children, but then school comes in. So how do we see this as a possibility? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellence. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Your Royal Highness Princess Nazreen, Ambassador Bagay, fellow panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and all of the students who are the future of our world. Education really is the foundation upon which we build our future. And that's a quote from Christina Gregory. And I think the important thing that you just mentioned, Ambassador, was it starts with mothers and fathers, and then school sometimes gets in the way. The education is what is important. And from that, we need to realize that foundations in education take many forms. There's emotional, there's supportive, and there's structural foundations. Each meeting a unique and educational need ranging from a belief in perseverance to mentorship and leadership. Similar to ancient walls in faraway countries, if a foundation is set properly, it will stand a test of time. And that test of time is going to allow us to pursue the future. Unfortunately, though, we often have students who do slip between the cracks. And it's those that we have to make sure that we follow up on to allow for that equity, that opportunity, and to ensure that there's that talent that we might end up not realizing exists unless we go back and check. It is through the future in these foundations that we are actually able to make sure we have enough perseverance and the talent to meet the needs for STEM, whether that's in business and industry, such as we just heard, or if that's for further academics and education. According to a 2018 UNESCO report, this has been historically limited for young girls and women, but it is time for change. There is no doubt that a strong educational foundation is necessary to build opportunities for all students to reach their potential, whether that's in a STEM career or other field of their choosing. As Her Royal Highness stated earlier, it is the power of education, and that education does have power. Furthermore, a strong foundation is also needed to develop an ongoing interest in and desire to become involved in science and engineering fields. According to the 2018 Science and Engineering Indicators, we know that the labor force is aging, so we do have to keep those retirees involved. Women continue to be underrepresented in science and education occupations, although the percentage of women who continue to earn degrees increases. And men continue to maintain higher proportions in the areas of engineering, physical sciences, and the computer and mathematical sciences. Next slide, please. Now in our 75th year, the National Science Teachers Association has had a long-standing history of contributing to the development of that foundation in educators and learners alike. But we know that there is much more to do. Our mission statement is to promote excellence and innovation in science teaching and learning for all. Slide, please. 3 of our goals from Strategy 2015 focus on strategies to meet our mission statement and are related to advocating for high-quality science education for all, supporting teacher growth in professional learning, and encouraging increased scientific instruction in the elementary grades. Our principles are found within our guiding documents and the position statements and focus on the same desired outcomes as Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. As president of the National Science Teachers Association, the theme to focus the efforts this past year has been, together we advocate for science education, through tenacity, leadership, and collaboration. The definition of advocacy that I choose to use and follow is to change what is into what should be. Slide, please. What should be is accomplished through collaboration to create an increased interest in science among young people. This interest is a necessity that we recognize as the growing need for researchers, scientists, editors, and others that translate the information learned and convey to all citizens of all countries so that they are able to utilize science in their daily lives. What should be is everyone accepting the responsibility to educate all students in science and advocating for this necessity. The narrative description for this panel indicated that to achieve sustainable development throughout the world, education policymakers need to allocate high priority and considerable resources to the teaching of science and technology in a manner that allows students to learn science in a way that is practiced and experienced in the real world by real scientists and engineers. Furthermore, to accomplish this goal, sustained support is needed to increase and improve teacher training and professional learning for STEM educators. There is a need for leadership that brings science education to the forefront of discussions. And many of these points we have already heard from the other panelists today and yesterday. NSTA does this in several ways and through several different avenues. For example, in the area of teaching, NSTA members include both science teachers and teachers of science. The language is subtle, but we recognize that many elementary and early childhood educators engage students in science, but may not necessarily consider themselves a science teacher. Differences in terminology is important also when introducing science to students. In a report released just this week in Psychological Science by Marjorie Rhodes, research shows that young girls demonstrate more engagement in science when the teachers present the idea that they should do science rather than be a scientist. Leadership is needed to ensure the transmission of this knowledge as more research emerges related to persistence among young women and girls in the science fields. That needs to be incorporated into classrooms and teacher preparation programs. Slide, please. Tenacity in leadership has been demonstrated by writing team members who promoted the view that students should learn science by doing science, which is a key underpinning of the next generation science standards and a framework for K-12 science education. This is that modernization of science education that we heard about moments ago. We want students to actually engage in the doing of science using the practices that scientists use. This foundational aspect intertwines the three dimensions into instruction and within student performance expectations. Collaboration with state leaders and international members has provided opportunities to engage teachers in professional learning, which not only reinforces the existing foundation to be lifelong learners, but strengthens it as well. NSTA reaches out to policymakers and provides supporting statements for those that need them in a variety of areas. One of our position statements on gender equity in science education addresses the need to support all children, regardless of age, cultural or ethnic background, or disabilities, with recommendations focusing around areas such as curriculum, teaching views, and professional development. We believe that this is supported through selecting science curriculum that promotes gender inclusiveness through their text, illustrations, and graphics, as well as presenting culturally diverse male and female role models working in all disciplines and at all levels of science. Slide, please. We know that there are many programs that provide opportunities for young girls and women to engage in learning about the field of STEM and specifically science education. Determining the proper avenue and approach to fostering these interests of young women is one of the areas that must be pursued and investigated. Through collaborative partnerships with businesses and government, NSTA manages and provides educational guidance and connections to the Army Educational Outreach Program's East Cyber Mission and the Toshiba Explorer Vision, which are two competition programs focused on K-12 education students. At times, and based on student interest and teacher direction, teams might be totally single-sex, or they may be co-sex or co-educational. Both experiences bring forth opportunities for education, advancement, and collaboration as the students learn to work among themselves and with others. Through teacher involvement, external mentors, and student engagement, teams look into design strategies for tackling world problems, improving the human experience through science, and considering how science and technology can impact the future by identifying the necessary breakthroughs for innovative applications. One of the comments in our Strategy 2015 states, "Join us as we work towards moving towards a scientifically literate future, where students' scientifically wonder is nurtured inside and outside the classroom, and the critical knowledge and skills gained enable them to be productive and responsible members of society and innovators of tomorrow." So I invite all of you and all of those that you reach through your organizations, your classrooms, and your initiatives to advocate for and promote science education for the right reasons, those that focus on sustaining future educational efforts for our students, for science, and for society. Thank you, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A part of all the very interesting thoughts and experiences you shared with us, I would very much to take with me the concept of perseverance. And it is something what can be taught, I believe. And it can be taught by the parents, it can be taught by the teachers. It is an ability which has to be developed in all of us. I think this is something what is a knowledge for your whole life. So obviously the concept of the scientific wonder to be nurtured is something what takes us to the next step, where I'm turning to Professor Ivica M. Labuda from Georgetown University Medical School, who is actually my dear neighbor, originally from Slovakia. I'm very happy to have you here, madam.